This is episode number 29 of the Expert Table Tennis Podcast. My name is Ben Larcombe, and joining me on the show today is Billy Shilton. Billy is just 17 years old. He is part of the Team GB Paralympic squad, and he lives and trains at the National Centre in Sheffield. And on the podcast today, we'll be talking about Billy's career, his training and development so far. He started at 13, so he's only been playing 4 years, but he's already improved a huge amount. We'll be talking about his move to Sheffield and the effect that that's had on the quantity and quality of the training that he's doing. And we'll also be talking about his hopes and dreams for the future, talking about the possibility of potentially playing in Rio 2016 and his long-term goal of really doing well at Tokyo in 2020. So really great interview. Great to have Billy on the show. I hope you get a lot from it. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TT Edge. TT Edge are amazing. It's their mission to bring world-class table tennis coaching to players all over the world, and they do that via their online videos and via the one-to-one feedback and coaching you can get with ex-national team player and coach Brett Clark. So you should definitely head on over to ttedge.com if you're interested in online coaching. Great services they provide over there. I'll talk more about them at the end of the show. For now, let's get into the interview with Billy Shilton. My guest on the show today is Billy Shilton. Hi, Billy.
Hi, Ben.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, really well, thank you. It's great to have you on the show. Now, you are a member of the Team GB Paralympic table tennis squad, yeah?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
That's kind of technical term for where you're playing. Yeah, how old are you, Billy?
I'm 17.
17, and you're quite recently 17?
Yeah, I was 17 in October.
Right, yeah. So a very young player, and you're originally from Bristol or somewhere around there?
Yeah, I'm from a little town in Bristol called Stonehouse, so that's where I'm from.
Okay, and you were you training under Daniel Ives and a few other coaches in that area before?
Yeah, I was training with Dan Ives. I did a lot of one-to-one sessions with Dan, yeah.
Yeah, so people listening will know Dan from all the stuff he's done with Table Tennis Daily. He's pretty well known. But now you've moved away from Bristol and you're kind of training full-time in Sheffield at the National Centre.
Yeah, I train 5 days a week in the National Centre at the English Institute of Sport in Sheffield with four other players in the national team every day. So it's different, but I'm really enjoying it at the moment.
Cool. Really nice to see kind of the progress and that you're moving into kind of a more professional setup. And talking about that and kind of being more professional and these different experiences, you've just got back from China, haven't you?
Yeah, I just recently got back from China, one of the ITTF Paralympic competitions. And that's the first time I've ever been to China. So it's a really good experience for me. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. And you know you're doing well when you get flown all over the world to play table tennis. So yeah, like well done for all of that, because it's got to feel, do you feel almost like you've kind of made it when you're sitting on planes and going out as a team to all these different countries? Like it's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing, but I tend not to think about it too much. I just try and focus on the table tennis. But you know, once in a while you have to think about how lucky you are to be traveling the world and playing the sport you love. So it's really good.
Yeah, it's a good life. Now, you had a little bit of a break after China, did you? But now you're back training again?
Yeah, I'm back into training now, and it's not confirmed yet, but hopefully I'll be heading to Costa Rica in 2 weeks' time for the final competition of the year to try and qualify for Rio. So that's a big one for me.
Okay, so at the moment everything's just building up for that.
Yeah, just training, focusing on Costa Rica now, yeah.
Nice, and what a lovely place to go to.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously never been there before, so it'd be another good experience for me, and I've heard the weather's really good as well, so that'd be good.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it would be good to go all the way back, and I mean, we'll talk about China and all your current training now a little bit later on, but just so that people get an idea of a bit more about where you came from and how you got into the sport, if you could give us maybe in kind of 1 or 2 minutes, kind of a brief intro to how you started playing, where that was, and why you kind of enjoyed it and got the bug.
Okay, well, basically at first I was playing football, but because of my disability, I couldn't really play it anymore, so I needed to find a new sport basically. And my dad played table tennis just at local league level at the time, so I thought I wanted to give it a go. And then from there, really, I've never looked back. And now I'm in Sheffield training full time. It's not something that I expected when I first started playing table tennis, but now it's really good and I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, so how old were you then when you first kind of picked up a bat and went along to a local club?
I think I was 13, so not that long ago.
Yeah, so what is that, 3 or 4 years ago? So that is a relatively, you're a bit of a late starter.
Yeah, I was a late starter. I mean, even I was just playing at first for maybe once a week with my dad, and then it sort of escalated really. And then I found Gloucester Table Tennis Club. A coach called Graham Slack was running it at the time. And then I sort of gained interest more and more every week I went really. And then it turned into twice a week, 3 times a week, and then travelling even further to Bristol. I used to play at the academy twice a week as well, and then training just started increasing, and I was really enjoying it at that time.
Yeah, so it all just kind of started to build and grow slowly, but constantly moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Now, you say you used to play football. I find that there are an awful lot of footballers come into table tennis and they're able to kind of, I don't know, pick it up really easily. Did you find that you kind of felt like you were a little bit of a natural towards table tennis, or was it really tough at first?
I'm not really sure. To be honest, I found it quite difficult because obviously I've never ever done anything like that before. So my mind was always so focused on football, and I loved football at the time. But then I knew because of my disability, it wasn't something that I could do anymore. So I knew, obviously, with my dad playing table tennis, it was sort of an easy way to get into it, and I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, because it's quite a different sport, isn't it? Going from running around outside as part of a team, you've got a lot more. You kind of feel like you're all bonding and you're all in it together. Whereas table tennis is very individual. It can be very frustrating and stressful. How did you find that transition?
It was quite difficult, the transition, to be honest, because obviously, like you said, football's completely different. You had a lot of people around you supporting you with the team. But then to go into an individual sport, it was quite difficult because my focus wasn't so good at the time. I used to have to rely on a lot of people, to keep me motivated. But then I think it's something that came naturally, to be honest, individual sport and focusing on yourself. It was something that came naturally as I played more, really.
Okay, so you managed to kind of get into the table tennis player's mindset and find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Now, you've mentioned your disability. Can you just explain kind of exactly what that is and how it affects you, Billy?
Oh, yeah, the disability is called Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease, and it affects all 4 of my limbs. And it's the main cause of it really is loss of balance and muscle loss. So essentially my muscles don't grow as fast and they don't repair as quick. So technically I'm not as strong and I can't move as fast as everyone else. Okay.
And from the other players that are in the GB team, do any of them have the same disability as you, or is there a kind of a lot of different disabilities?
No, my disability is actually very uncommon. Not many people have it. I think my disability there is 6 types, and 5 people in the UK have my type, and 4 in my family.
Right.
So
okay.
Yeah, it's not very common at all.
And how have you found playing table tennis with your disability? What's been kind of the most difficult aspect of putting those two together?
I think at first it was more balance because before I had a big operation in 2011, I think it was, and my balance was really bad. I had to lean on the table to serve and things like this, and I was shuffling back from the table unbelievably. But then I had this operation and my balance got a lot better, but still it was a lot to improve. And I've made so many improvements on my balance since I've been living in Sheffield. So It's getting a lot better. So yeah.
Yeah, because balance is one of those things that's, a really important fundamental skill of table tennis that perhaps is often overlooked. The ability to be able to move in and out, side to side very quickly, while keeping your balance in order to play the strong shots. I guess that's something that all players struggle with to an extent, and it's just a bit tougher for you. But you found that, what kind of things have you done to improve your balance on the table? Not just having this operation, but what things have you found helpful for improving that?
I think, I've been working a lot with the physiotherapist in the GB team, a lot on my balance, lots of different tests and exercises I can do that have helped my balance unbelievably. And also, I think just training in general, like like learning the correct movements and how to move side to side and in and out and things like that. It's just like strengthened my legs up and made me a bit stronger generally. So that aspect has made my balance a lot better, but obviously it can still be improved.
Yeah. Okay. So doing some exercises away from the table, and then just, I guess, a lot of it is about learning the correct footwork patterns and movement patterns that allow you to be balanced while you're moving around, because you find that a lot of players actually they're moving in a not very efficient way, and that's what throws them off. Whereas once you actually really nail down the correct way to move, all of a sudden you've got the balance there.
Yeah, well, I think that was the main thing, to be honest, just getting the correct movements in, and then that will just progress my balance. And that's the thing that I found the best thing for me to do, really, like learning the correct movements, because at the start when I was first playing table tennis, I couldn't even play a backhand middle. I just couldn't do it. Like, I just couldn't move the movement wasn't there, and it was really difficult. But then, like I said, the balance and the exercises I've been doing, I've felt my balance a lot, and it's really improving.
Great. Well, let's say you've been playing table tennis for about 4 years. You've gone from being a complete beginner that doesn't know anything about the sport to now I looked up your ranking. I think you're about 60 in the juniors and about 450 in the seniors in England, which is obviously fantastic for someone that's only been playing for 4 years. When you consider that a lot of the juniors your age have probably been playing for 6, 7, 8 years, maybe more. What kind of things do you think really have helped you to improve so quickly over those 3 or 4 years?
I think to be honest, it was the transition in moving to Sheffield and training full time, because I found that I was improving. Because I was at one point I was on and off in Sheffield, so I'd be doing school where I'm from, Bristol, and then I'd be coming up to Sheffield maybe once a month for a week, and I was improving. But I think I knew that the best thing for me to do was to move to Sheffield and train full time. And I think that transition has improved me a lot.
Okay, so what then is it about Sheffield that's so great? Because for people listening, they're not going to be able to go and become part of the Sheffield squad. But what are they looking for in a club or a group of players that's happening at Sheffield that means that it's just going to help players improve quickly and produce really good players? What are they doing right there?
Well, we have a national team there. We have 2 national coaches, and then we have a lot of support staff as well. We have physiotherapy, we have strength and conditioning coaches, psychologists, and things like this. And I think those little aspects can help you massively, like doing extra work in the gym to make you stronger and move faster around the table. And in general, just the training, it's really intense and really disciplined. Like you have no time to switch off, and the practice is really good. Everyone's improving every single day. So I think it's just sharpened me up a little bit and made me focus more on what I need to do to be the best player in the world. I think is the main thing.
Okay, so it's just an environment that from the sounds of it it's trying to cover all aspects, create the complete player, and there's a lot of other players and coaches there that are all really focused on achieving kind of similar goals of becoming as good as they can be.
Well, yeah, I mean the coaches and the support staff helped massively. I think it helped me for sure. The extra work in the gym and the advice the coaches have given me on, like I said before, having to move correctly, my technique, creating power, and things like this. It's just improved me so much, and I'm hoping I can go a lot further.
Brilliant. Well, so one thing I was thinking about is obviously, like now you're in this place where you're very much you've decided that you really want to go for table tennis, and you're going to put everything into that. Try and get as high up in table tennis in the world rankings and things as possible. Then there will have been a point where you were just playing for fun. I'm wondering if there was some kind of moment where you can remember where you kind of decided in your head that, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to, dedicate the next 5-10 years of my life to. Was there kind of like a tipping point where you really thought, I can do this. I could do this professionally, or is it just a gradual process?
Oh no, it was instantly. When I went to my first international competition in Belgium in 2013, and I really enjoyed this experience. Obviously, playing in my first international competition wasn't something that I thought I would be doing at the start when I started first playing table tennis. And then I just I really, really enjoyed the experience, and seeing like the top players there and what they were doing and what they've achieved just made me think, I really want to get into this and do it full time. And I think since then, I've never looked back, and I think that was the main thing. That was the tipping point, like you said, for make me decide, I want to do this professionally.
Okay, so it's almost like you were just kind of exposed to that high level of competition and players once, and then once you'd got a taste of it, it was like there was no turning back.
Yeah, it literally was. Yeah, as soon as I remember I was watching the final of my class, and I was like, I just couldn't believe like I was here in general, and then that was it. Then I just didn't look back, and I was ready to go.
Cool, brilliant. Okay, so let's get into kind of what life is like for you living at Sheffield now. You moved there to live full time this summer, is that right?
Yeah, this summer. Yeah, after I finished my GCSEs.
Sure. So you've been there for what's that? About 4 months, something like that.
I think it's about 6 months. Yeah, 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're feeling pretty settled in now. What's it like, even like living arrangements? Because I mean, you're only 17. How does stuff like that work?
Well, I live with 2 other players in a bungalow in Rotherham, which is quite close to Sheffield. So it's not something that I don't know. It's not. It was a new experience for me, obviously moving away from my family and living on my own, having to cater for myself and things like that. So I was a bit scared at first, to be honest. Like, I didn't know what to expect. Moving to Sheffield, it's about 2 hours away from my home, so it's not close. But I've really, I think I've grown to it, to be honest. I'm really enjoying it at the moment, just living on my own and looking after myself. It's really good.
Yeah, and I guess it's slightly different to your average 16 or 17-year-old moving away and just kind of like going a bit wild, because you've got this massive focus. So I guess all of your energy is put into the table tennis instead of put into going
definitely,
out or whatever.
Yeah, it's more on, obviously 100% on table tennis at the moment, because I think, obviously, like I said, since Belgium, I've just been really focused on table tennis, and it's what I've been wanting to do since 2013. I've just wanted to knuckle down and work as hard as I can to be the best player I can possibly be.
Yeah, sure. Now you've got to be one of the youngest guys there, are you?
Yeah, I think I'm the second youngest. I think there's one younger than me. So
most of the guys training there are in their 20s, I guess.
Yeah, they're all in their 20s. Yeah.
So that's got to be pretty good for you that you're kind of the youngest, the least experienced. You've got a lot of players to look up to and mimic.
But yeah, there's so many role models in our team. For example, Will Bailey and Ross Wilson. There's someone that I've looked up to from the start when I first started playing table tennis. Obviously, what the team achieved in London and how many medals they got is just like extra motivation to do well, really. Watching them do really well and achieve what they wanted to is sort of, motivated me to do even better, really.
Yeah, because I think this is something that is pretty important for players that want to improve is, working their way into a little group of players where they're, say, in the bottom half when it comes to skill and age and experience, so that they've got enough people above them to look up to and copy and try and strive towards. And I think it sounds like you're very much in that kind of situation, and therefore you should really, in the next couple of years, be able to catch up with those guys quite quickly.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the practice, when I first moved to Sheffield, obviously the practice was really, really good, and I was really enjoying it because the players were a lot better than me at the time. And I think gradually I'm getting there, but obviously I'm not there yet. So it's just to keep my head down and keep working hard is the main thing, really.
Yeah. Now, what does a typical day look like for you, Billy? Because you're still doing some sort of studying, aren't you?
Yeah, I go to college 3 days a week, so as well as training.
So how does that work on a day-to-day basis? How much are you training? What kind of times are you studying?
Well, if I go for a weekly plan, it's Monday mornings I train 9 till 11, and then I do college from 1 till 4. Tuesdays I train 9 till 11, 3 till 5, so I don't have any education that day. And then Wednesday I don't train, I'm in college all day. And then I train all day Thursday, but I have 2 lessons in between my lunch breaks. And Friday, we only train once on Friday, so I train Friday morning, and then I go off to college.
Okay, so are you missing some of the sessions that the older guys are doing?
Oh yeah, I think there's 10 sessions a week, and I'm doing 8, so I missed 2 table tennis sessions. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty much you're in most of what's going on with the table tennis.
Yeah, I'm in 90-95% of what everyone else is doing. Yeah.
And do you find that you're able to? It's difficult to get across, because sometimes some people find it quite difficult to have like a split focus. You want to put everything into your table tennis, and then at the same time, I assume you've got coursework and homework and stuff to do for. Are you able to balance them? How are you doing with that?
I think one thing that I think is just switching off completely. Like when you're doing college, you're 100% focused on college and completely switched off table tennis. And then when you're playing table tennis, you're 100% on table tennis and completely switched off on college. And I think because of the time I have after college in the bungalow on my own, it's because I have so much time then just to, catch up with my work. And when I'm in college, I have a lot of time to catch up on my work as well. So it's not really an issue at the moment, which is good.
Great. So you're managing to balance it pretty well.
Yeah, I'm keeping up with it at the moment.
And what's your thinking long term? So I assume you're doing 2 years at college. What are you expecting to happen after that?
I think I'm looking to finish my college course, and then I think I'm going to look to train full time and completely focus on table tennis, looking on Tokyo 2020, and then after Tokyo I'll reevaluate and decide what I want to do, if I want to go to uni or I want to carry on playing table tennis. So I think that'll be the time where I evaluate and see what I want to do, really.
Well, that sounds pretty good, because I assume you'll be finishing college kind of summer of 2017, which would then give you 3 years to really build up to 2020.
Yeah, just completely knuckle down on table tennis then and be the best I can for Tokyo.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Now, you've had some pretty awesome results in the last couple of months, haven't you, at different open events? Do you want to share some of them with us?
Oh, yeah. Well, my best one to date ever was a bronze medal in the European Championships in singles, which was completely unexpected for me, to be honest. So even a week before we left, I really didn't expect that I could do it. In the quarterfinal, I beat the reigning European champion and world number 3 from Ukraine. So that was an unbelievable win for me. And then I had to play Will in the semis. So that was a bit strange, 2 GBs in the semis. But I mean, to get silver in team as well with Will was really good. We knew we wasn't playing for that long. So it was a new experience, us playing doubles together. But I think we didn't really let us phase us, to be honest. We only lost, I think it was 1 doubles match the whole competition. So it was really good. And then I just recently got back 2 weeks ago from Belgium, where it was my first competition in my new disability category, which is Class 8. And I managed to win the competition. So my first competition in Class 8, I won a gold medal. So that was really good. And then just previously, I've came back from China, where me and my 2 partners, Aaron McKibben and Kim Daybell, got a bronze in the team event. So that's really good. They're probably, the Europeans was definitely the highlight for me so far in my table tennis career. So that was really good.
Yeah, definitely. And you must have a nice collection of medals building up now as well.
Yeah, I got a lot now, so it's really good.
Okay, so let's talk a bit more about Europeans, because you said that, you weren't really expecting to get these kind of results. I assume you were getting wins against players ranked a lot higher than you, were you?
Yeah, well, at first, honestly, it started before I went 2 weeks before to Czech, and it was a transition. I really don't know what happened. Something just clicked, and I think I just went up a level, and I haven't gone down from that level yet. I've just kept it going and going and going, and I think that's due to my focus, to be honest. Not losing focus and keep going on what I need to do and focus on myself was the main thing. And then I took that into the Europeans, but I really didn't expect to do what I did. And yeah, like you said, I beat the world number 3 in the quarterfinal, and I beat I think he's world number 9 in the last 16. So yeah. Yeah,
because what you say there is quite interesting, because often I think as you're putting in the training and all the effort, what we hope or expect to see is kind of like a steady straight line of progress, where each day we get a little bit better, and it's like quite a nice smooth line going up. Whereas I think what most players tend to find in reality is that they might train for 6 months to a year, and at the end of it, it doesn't seem like they're any better or getting any better results than they were 6 months ago. And then you have one tournament where you play unbelievably well and seem to jump up, and then from then on you kind of stay at that level. That wasn't a fluke. That's just your new level. And I think that's something that can be really difficult at the time when you're stuck in one of those plateaus. But it's just something that I think you have to understand, that that's kind of the way that it works.
Well, yeah, like I said, I didn't expect it. I think, like I said, it was due to my focus levels and what I was focused on in general. Like, I was 100% focused on table tennis and what I needed to do to win matches. And I think it just sort of like, it was a domino effect. When I beat one top player, it was like, yeah, I can do this now. I'm believing in myself and I can do it. And then I think since then, it's just, like I said, it's just a domino effect, and it's just carried on, and it's really good.
Yeah, because I mean, confidence is huge when you're really serious about playing table tennis, isn't it? Like, so many matches, you see players go into it, and you can just tell that one player doesn't believe that they're able to beat the other player. So, like, the match is pretty much the result's been decided before they've even hit a ball, because of the kind of mental and confidence levels of the two players.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was something I really struggled with when I first started playing international competitions. It was just the respect I had for other players. And it was just like, I can't beat you because you've done this or you've done that and you're ranked this high. And I think that was it then in Czech. That's what clicked. And the training helped massively. Obviously, training full time was then, yeah, Billy, you can actually do this, and just believe in yourself. And then you don't know what can happen. And then I proved in Czech, in Europeans, that it can actually happen. You know, if you just focus on yourself and work really hard, that you can beat the best players in the world.
Yeah, it's as much about proving it to yourself as it is to proving it to everyone else, isn't it? You just somehow need to believe that you're able to perform at that next level, and then once you feel it, then you're just gonna get that big rush.
Yeah, it was just a reassurance for myself, really. I wasn't too, like, the coaches believed I could do it, but I was just a bit unsure, and I wasn't 100% sure that I could do it, but the coaches really believed in me, and then that then sort of kicked me forward, and said to myself, if the coaches believe in me, then I don't see why I can't do it. And then that was in Czech then, where it just clicked, and I really believed in myself, and I was really confident that I could beat the best players in the world.
Brilliant. Well, hopefully we'll see that moving on forward, and you'll be able to keep that up and even be pushing higher. Now, one thing that you mentioned there was this class change where you were competing up until about a month or so ago in Class 7 with Will Bailey, that obviously people will know quite well. Now you're competing in Class 8. So what's happened there?
Essentially, it's due to a protest, which means other countries can protest to essentially, it means that they don't believe that you're correctly in that disability category, and that's what happened with me. But it was due to, I think, my performances in the European Championships, where people thought maybe, he's not disabled as they make out he is, or things like this. But I think that triggered it. Like, I think I found that before, when I wasn't getting the results, it wasn't really a problem. But then I found that when I started getting the results, people were a bit unsure, Billy could be a Class 8 and things like this. And then that was it. After I won my quarterfinal, then I got the news the day after that there was a protest being made against me. And then I had to wait. It was on the last day of the competition where I found out that I'll be competing in Class 8, and it was a bit difficult for me to take, to be honest, at the moment. Obviously, being on such a high with the 2 medals, and then being kicked back down again to say that you're in Class 8, because also I was pretty much qualified for Rio as well in Class 7. So that was all I was thinking about at the time, because I did so well in the Europeans. That really kicked up my ranking, and I was very close to qualifying. And then now it's put me in Class 8, where it's difficult for me to qualify. But the results I got in Belgium and China have kicked me back up again. So I'm hoping in Costa Rica that I can do well and keep up my performances, and hopefully get the points which accumulate to enough for me to qualify. So
yeah, hopefully that'll all turn out all right. Because this has happened to us before, isn't it? I know Will Bailey started off as a Class 6 player, and then at some point got moved down to Class 7, didn't he?
Yeah, it was the same situation. It was before the European Championships. He turned up to the European Championships as a Class 6, and then the classifiers told him that you'll be competing in Class 7 now. And I think that's helped me so much, speaking to Will about the whole situation and how he dealt with it and where he is now. He was in Class 6, about 12 in the world, and then he's worked so hard to get where he is now in Class 7, and he's the world champion and world number one. So I've used that as motivation really to try and do the same and implicate what he's done. So yeah, it's really good to get advice from someone that's been through the same situation, really.
Yeah, because now you've been you kind of like knocked down the ranking list a little bit in Class 8 compared to Class 7. But I guess, you're a young player, you've got years left. You just got to push on and focus on getting as high up in Class 8 as possible, I guess.
Well, yeah, I originally was 12 in the world in Class 7, and now I think I'm roughly about 17 or 18 in Class 8. But yeah, like you said, I just need to focus on. It's a bit difficult for me to take it first, obviously, because Rio was so focused on then that it was just a bit difficult. But now I've evaluated and realised, that there's no point in looking back on it. You just need to keep going and working hard, and then you never know what could happen, really.
Yeah, just stay positive.
Yeah.
So what are the odds of making it to Rio now? Like, I don't even know what you need to do to qualify to that. Is it based on ranking or results or what?
It's based on ranking. So depending on which category you're in, I think for Class 8 you have to be top 14 in the world. But then I think roughly it's about 40, 50 points which I need to get in Costa Rica. But then it has to go through Great Britain as well. You have to be selected. So yeah, so we just see what happens. Obviously, I just need to focus on my table tennis at the moment. I try not to worry about too much about what's happening about that. Just try and focus on my table tennis and doing the best I can, really.
Yeah, sure. Well, we wish you the best of luck with that. And you said that recently you've been over in China. Now that is obviously almost like the Mecca, the home of table tennis. Everyone that plays table tennis, I think, kind of dreams of one day making it over to China and experiencing it over there. So tell us what it was like, what you learned over there.
Well, yeah, obviously when I first started playing table tennis, that was the aim to, try and go over to train or play a competition. And when I found out that I'd be going over there to play a competition, I was like a little baby at Christmas. I was really excited and I was really looking forward to it. And yeah, it was a really good experience, just, learning a different culture and how things are done out in China. Like the hall was unbelievable and the catering was really good. And it was just an exposure to Chinese players as well, because they don't really play many competitions in Europe. So to play against the Chinese, you usually have to travel into Asia to play. And I had the world number 2 Chinese in my group. So that was a good experience for me to play against him. And also in the semi-finals, we had the Class 10 team. And that was a really good experience to play against the Chinese, because obviously they're such a high level.
Yeah, so the Chinese para players, is it similar to how it is, in all the other tournaments where the Chinese are just absolutely dominating everyone?
Yeah, pretty much, to be honest. But sometimes, it depends on which category. Usually I think, if I'm correct, there's 3 Chinese Class 10s in the top 5. And then there's 1 Chinese in Class 9, he's world number 1. And then they're all roughly about top 5, top 10 in the world. So they're all very good players.
And I mean, you got to play some of them. What is it that they're doing differently? Do they have a different style? Are they just kind of like more polished? What is the difference between looking at the Chinese players and the coaches and what they're doing over there and what you guys are doing at Sheffield as the Great Britain team?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I don't think there's that much difference. It's just, I don't know. I seem to look at a few players and they seem to have a lot of flair. Like there's a lot of just sending bombs all over the court sort of thing. And I think that was one of the main things, is just a lot of flair in their game. And obviously they can change, subject to change. They can, just keep the ball on the table. They can do loads of different things with the ball and things like that. But I think one of the main things I noticed was the flair that they all have.
Well, that's quite interesting, because we don't often associate Chinese players with flair. We kind of think that they're quite rigid, disciplined. They kind of do a lot of standard drills, doing the same patterns over and over. But, you think that maybe that's changing slightly?
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends on what category you're in, to be honest. The Class 10s and the Class 9s obviously have a lot more mobility than other people. So they're looking to use their movement as one of their factors and try and, I think it's the higher classes that you see the more flair, to be honest. And then as the classes go down into 6, 7 and 8 a little bit, where it's just more focused on being clever and what you do with the ball, making people move and things like that. But I think the higher classes, there's a lot of flair, but then like I said, as it goes down, it's more on like using your head and mentally how you can win points against your opponent by getting them into difficult positions and things like that.
Right, okay. Let's say when you were flying back from China and you're sitting on the flight, which must have been pretty long. How long was that?
It was 11 hours, so it was very tiring.
11 hours. Yeah, so it's a pretty long flight. You've been out there for a few days. You've played the tournament. You've experienced it, like everything that they've got going over there. What were you thinking? What were you taking back? What were you kind of concluding from your time over there?
I think the main thing was, to be honest, looking at the Chinese players in Class 8 because they're both top 5 in the world. So it was just evaluating on how they played against other opponents and what they did to win points and things like that was one of the main things that I took away from China. And also just how, the experience of being in China was an extra motivation, because obviously it's the home of table tennis, and it just gave me that extra motivation to just keep going and keep working hard as well. So that there was two main aspects, really.
Yeah, so that is something that I think a lot of players could really learn from is when you are at a tournament and often you might be going to a Grand Prix or any kind of like proper ranking tournament, and there'll be players there, maybe not even playing in your event, who are like real top quality players. And if you can spend a bit of time to just watch them, absorb what they're doing, think about kind of the decisions that they're making that are maybe slightly different to what you would do in different situations, I think you can learn so much just from being like there in person with a top player.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's something that I've always tried to do, to be honest. Even when I was in Class 7, obviously it was perfect for me because Will was the best in the world and I was training with him every single day. So that was perfect for me, really. And then going into Class 8, we have Ross and Aaron as well, which are two very good players in Class 8. So it's good. Everyone really, and the people that we train with are the best in the world in their class. So it's even in Sheffield, it's perfect to be training with them every day and evaluating what they do to win points and things like that. But in China, I was focused on the two Chinese and what they were doing, really.
Great, good to know, and it's good to see that you're kind of really taking responsibility for your own learning and stuff like that at such a young age. I think that's going to put you in good stead going forwards.
Well, yeah,
now,
oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say that as well, living and moving to Sheffield's just made me more independent and trying to do things for myself, really. So even in that aspect is coming into table tennis, trying to see what I can do to be the best player I can be has helped by moving into Sheffield, looking after myself and doing things independently.
Yeah, I think that is a really important point that, everyone's got, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have got a coach that's able to help them or other people that are involved, parents and whatever. But if you are serious about it, it does really come down to you need to be seeing yourself almost as your own coach as well. You need to be taking responsibility for knowing what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, what you need to be improving, what you want to be doing in training. Like it's no good just rocking up to training sessions and assuming that the coach is going to spoon feed you everything. You need to be going into these sessions, already having your own plan of what you want to work on and the kind of things that you want to be improving.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. You hit the nail on the head there, really, about doing things on, you have to try and do things on your own. The coaches can't do everything for you, but they're there. Obviously, they're a massive help, but the main thing is you need to be focused on yourself and trying to do things yourself the best way that you can do it so you can be the best player in the world.
Yeah, and I think the younger you can get into that mindset, the better. And it sounds like, you've really got into that now. So I'm really excited to see, how well you can be doing in the next few years. And I guess especially with your age, 2020 is going to be the big one. So yeah, excited to see how you get on there.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to it.
Right, well, we've got to the part of the interview where I asked for a top tip. So this could be anything really, but just something that you think is going to really help the listeners if they're able to apply to their own game or something that you've learned from all of your training.
The main thing that I've learned when I first moved to Sheffield was how hard everyone worked. Like unbelievably effort, every single session, 100%. And that's something that, if you have to improve, that's what you've got to do. You've got to work so hard every single day. And every ball counts, so you must give 100% in every session. But also, I think to enjoy it as well, because I find and other people it's difficult to improve if you're not enjoying the sport. Because you can get a bit lethargic and you're not really wanting to be there and things like that. Then you can't really improve. So I think they're the two main things. Just work hard and give 100% and enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I guess when you're in the kind of environment that you're in, it must be so motivating to just look around and see everyone else sweating, working hard, like really focused. That's just got to be such a boost.
Well, yeah, sometimes even when you're feeling a bit down and you're not playing so good, you look to the table next to you, you can see someone that's giving everything like 110%. And then it just like kicks you up, come on, you can do this, keep going, working hard. And then a few times I've been in that situation, where you're not feeling great, you're not playing very well. You look over and someone's going at it like absolutely crazy, working so hard. And then that's like, yeah, come on, Billy, motivate yourself and work really hard. And that's helped massively, being in Sheffield and everyone just literally giving 110% every session.
Yeah. I mean, what you're really talking about is the quality, not just the quantity of practice, because there's been, loads of talk about all the 10,000 hours, and obviously we want to try and do as much practice as possible, but it's a lot more difficult to measure the quality of a session. It's easy to say, oh, I'm doing 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week and add it all up, but how much are you getting out of those hours that you're putting in? And I guess that's what you're saying has really helped at Sheffield. It's not just the amount of table tennis you're playing, but that it's really high quality training.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, I think the best way to do it is sessions where you literally can give 110%. Like if you're feeling it and maybe you're injured or you're really tired and that you can't give everything, I think it's best, take the afternoon off or take the morning off and then come in the next morning and give 100%. And I think that's the main thing. It's not just how many hours you do, it's how hard you work. Like you can do 10,000 hours, you could just like do nothing. You could just be really lethargic and not work hard, but then you can do maybe 3 times a week, but you could work so hard, 110%. And I think you'll get more out of that than just playing loads of hours a week and being really lethargic and not really doing anything.
Yeah, because one thing that I do hear from time to time from players is that they're saying that they're not able to train enough. They're only able to train twice a week because of whatever. But I guess what you've got to do is just make the most of the time that you have got. Let's say you can only train on a Wednesday night and a Friday night because that's the only time your club's open and there's nowhere else you can train. Well, you've just got to give your all, like you say, into those sessions and not worry that you can't get more quantity and just focus on the quality.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I found when I was living at home. Obviously, it was difficult to get the practice and I had to travel, and it was just making the most of the sessions that I had was one of the main things, really. Just working really hard in those sessions, even if it was 2-3 times a week. But it's just making sure that those sessions count and you're not wasting a session on not working very hard and something like this, but you just need to keep going.
Yeah, good advice. Right, well, that's pretty much it. You've got Costa Rica coming up in 2 weeks, did you say?
Yeah, I'm hoping to go there. It's not been confirmed yet, but yeah, I'm hoping to be on that plane to Costa Rica.
That's the plan anyway. Yeah. So you've got 2 weeks of hard training leading up to that. Then, do you get Christmas off and stuff? What are your plans for Christmas?
Oh yeah, I'm going home, spending some time with family and friends, so that'll be really good. I get 2 weeks off for Christmas, so I'm really looking forward to that, having a break.
Nice. And then you'll be back in January hitting it hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And then when you're home, I know you've got a little brother that plays quite a lot as well, don't you?
Yeah, a little brother called Stan. He's only 11. He's only just started, but I think he's really enjoying it at the moment. So hoping that he keeps going and working hard, and hopefully he can achieve in the future.
Yeah. Now he's ranked pretty highly for his age, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's top 15 in under 13s.
And he's only 11.
Yeah, he's only 11. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, very good. And I think he's very lucky to have an older brother that plays. I think that could well be one of the secrets to success in table tennis.
Well, yeah, my mum was always saying, "Oh, I'll practice with Stan tonight" and things like that. And you don't really realise at first, how much it can help them. And that's one thing that I found moving to Sheffield. Having older people there helping you out and doing a lot for you is to help with me. Just doing little things for my brother, like practice with him maybe for an hour and a half or something like that. Just giving a bit back to him, really.
Great. Well, we wish both of you the best of luck. I really hope that you make it to Rio, Billy. But if you don't, we know that you're going to be doing great things in the future. So just keep up all the hard work. Keep putting in 110% in all these sessions. And yeah, do us proud.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Been great talking to you.
You too.
Have a good evening.
Cheers. Bye.
See you later. A big thank you goes out to Billy for joining me on this episode of the show. I hope you enjoyed that interview and you were able to get some tips and things from that. Obviously, Billy has got a decent amount of experience in the sport, and it's great to hear some of the lessons that he's picked up from working with coaches and overcoming some of the obstacles that have been in his way. What really stood out to me from that interview was Billy's emphasis on understanding that he needs to be thinking long term. So even though obviously it'd be brilliant if he was playing next summer in Rio 2016, we can already hear that, you know, his main goal, his main focus is Tokyo 2020, when he's going to be 22 years old, probably at the peak of his playing career. He will have been playing for about 10 years by that point, or 9 years, so be in a very good position to actually, you know, potentially medal or even win the whole event. And it's just, you know, it's not easy to be that focused for that period of time. You know, 2020 is 5 years away. So Billy is basically committing to focusing predominantly on improving his table tennis above everything else in his life for the next 5 years. And that's something that the majority of players just aren't prepared to do. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Billy does go and do unbelievably well in 2020, and it will be because of, you know, these last 5 years of hard training. And I think that's often what people overlook, or they just don't realise quite how much effort and sacrifice has been put into it. Billy has already been playing for 4 years. He's been, you know, serious about his table tennis, but now, you know, in the last 6 months moving to Sheffield, he's taken that real step to make table tennis the number one thing in his life. And I think that is what you need to do in order to see the really impressive results and performances at the highest level. So I wish Billy the best of luck. I know that it's going to be a long 5 years for him. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but I know that he's also going to really enjoy it and get loads from it. So yeah, it'll be brilliant to see Billy at Rio 2016 if he manages to pull that off and qualify. If not, you know, I can't wait to see how he gets on in Tokyo 2020. That's obviously going to be the big one for him. As I said at the start of the episode, this podcast is sponsored by TT Edge, at least for the next couple of shows. So I'd just like to let you know a little bit about what they do and why I believe it would be brilliant for you to actually go and sign up as a member to TT Edge. Now, I had Brett Clark on the podcast back in episode 26. He kind of runs TT Edge now. So if you haven't listened to that one yet, definitely go and check that out. That's one of the most popular episodes so far. And what TT Edge does is, for one, they provide loads of really high quality coaching videos where they break down different techniques. Brett and William Hensel, the number one Australian player, going through loads of different things that you can be working on and improving on. The part of the package that I really like is the fact that Brett is actually prepared to work one-on-one via email, Skype and online with members. So if you sign up for a platinum membership, which is $20 a month, then you actually get access to Brett Clark, who was a former Australian national team player and coach, and you can send him videos, you can send him emails, you can chat with him forward and back, and he will be able to look at what you're doing, give you some tips. And it's that access to real world-class level coaching that I think is unique to TT Edge. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, go to ttedge.com and check that out. The platinum membership, as I said, $20 a month, and then you get access to over 200 videos and one-to-one interaction with Brett Clark himself. If you enjoy this podcast, I would really love it if you could subscribe on iTunes. Leave us a review there as well if you've got a few seconds. And please continue to share these episodes on Facebook and Twitter with your friends and family. And yeah, help us get this show more and more popular. Each month I see more downloads, and it's really encouraging for me to see that people are enjoying the show and sending me emails and saying that they find it helpful. So big thank you to everyone that's done that and has got in contact. I'll be back in a week's time with episode number 30. That's going to be the last one before Christmas, because I'm going to have 2 weeks off over Christmas. I thought it'd be a bit much to be releasing an episode on Christmas Day. And then I'll be back in early January, and we'll be going again with episodes every single Friday. Thank you so much for listening to this show and giving me a little bit of your time. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can always do so at ben@experttabletennis.com. and I'll see you in a week's time on episode number 30.